Welcome back to Game On. Let's jump back into our winter sports wrap-up show. We'll stay on the court for girls basketball, and Carroll County had plenty to cheer for this winter. One team ended a drought to win the county title, and another made it to their first state championship game in 27 years. Time to take a look at the final Carroll County girls hoop standings. Westminster coming out on top at 10-2, Francis Scott Key winding up second at 9-3. 5 teams posted 10 or more wins this season. Now a quick look at the stats leaders for County girls hoops. We begin with scoring. Century's Harley Hamlet and Westminster's Maddie Gassman battled it out for the scoring title, and Hamlet edged Gassman for the top. You see 17.2 points per game for Hamlet and 16.2 for, and we get to the second one now, Juliana Lesher at 9.9, and Liberty with Alyssa Gollenbeck and Gigi Hall with a couple of girls with 8.5 points or better. Gassman and FSK's Caroline Core tie for the top rebounds per game mark at 7.9. SC's Leah Miller was second there at 7.4, and you see Janae Pryor of Winters Mill coming in at 6.7. Key's Abby Rieger had 102 assists and led the CCAL in average this winter. Teammate Summer Brooks added 104 for the Eagles. 3 girls there with 4 assists or more, pretty impressive, and Courtney Goff at 3.7. And then for steals, Rieger again topped the list at had 103 of them for Francis Scott Key. Maddie Gassman close behind, and Molly Smith coming in there with 79 steals and 2.9 for the Mavericks of Manchester Valley. Before we get to the CCAL season review, a quick shout out for Christelle girls basketball. The Falcons won the IAAM B Conference Championship. They beat John Carroll 41-39 on February 18th at Stevenson University. Christelle ended the season on a 7-game winning streak, and they went 10-0 in B Conference play this winter. Congratulations to the Falcons. Now we can break down each Carroll County Athletic League team from this past season. Start with Century. Century enjoyed an 8-5 record to start the winter, but the Knights endured a 7-game losing skid. They finished 10-14, 3-9 in county play. Harley Hamlet led the county in scoring at 17.2 points per game, and she added 6.5 rebounds and 2.7 steals for her senior year. Francis Scott Key came up short in its county title defense, but the Eagles were the last Carroll team standing this winter. FSK went 19-8 and played in the 2A state finals, led by senior Drew Watkins and junior Summer Brooks. Watkins scored 15.2 points per game, and Brooks added 11.8 points with 4 assists per game. Abby Rieger, like we showed, led FSK with 4.3 assists and 4.3 steals per game. Liberty started the season at 4-9. They righted the ship though and posted 8 wins. The Lions went 6-6 in county play, and Alyssa Gollenbeck led the team at 9.7 points per game. Courtney Goff went for 6.2 rebounds, and she handed out 3.7 assists per game as well for the Lions. Manchester Valley went 6-6 against county teams and 13-11 overall, and the Mavericks were led by senior guard Autumn Stottlemyre and her 11 points per game. Reese Crestline, another senior from Man Valley, added 9.9 points, and she pulled down 6.5 rebounds. South Carroll surprised some with a 17-8 record and a regional final appearance, but the young Cavaliers went 8-4 in the county, and they competed with just about everybody this winter. Harley McKee averaged 15 points per game, and Leah Miller scored 9.4, and freshman Jenna Todd pulled down 6 boards per game for first-year coach Ryan Hutchison. Winters Mill started 0-6, and the Falcons couldn't quite recover. They finished 0-12 in the county, but they went 4-19 overall, and they had some positives. Freshman Hannah Neske, who scored 8 points per game, and Janae Pryor, who pulled down 6.7 rebounds a game for Big Mill. Westminster won the Carroll County title, the Owls' first since 2020, thanks in part to junior Maddie Gassman and senior Juliana Lesher. Gassman went for 16.6 points, 7.9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3.8 steals. Lesher added 9.8 points per game and 5.3 rebounds per game for an Owls team that went 16-8 and 10-2 in the CCAL, and now we get a chance to go a little deeper with Westminster girls basketball. Now we welcome Westminster girls coach Dave Urban to the studio. Coach, appreciate you joining us today. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem. The Owls went 16-8 this winter and 10-2 in the Carroll County Athletic League to win their first county crown since 2020. Westminster won 11 of 12 games after a 3-5 start. That included big wins over South Carroll and Francis Scott Key to secure that county title. Coach, when did you know that your team had the makings of such a season? Because it did go kind of one way and then it went the other way in a big swing.
Well, actually, in the beginning, every team has to try to find itself, what its identity, what changes from the previous year into the new year. And we kind of had an identity crisis the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
So the Liberty game, which I think was our 3rd or 4th game, getting into the second half, I think that's when things started to change. I did something I've never done in my coaching career. I played zone.
First time ever.
My assistant coach, Sarah O'Donnell, who played for me, was like, "You're playing what?" So we switched to zone. We switched into kind of some other things that we don't typically do. And it was just like, look, you guys are playing stiff. You're thinking too much. Go out and have fun. And let's just kind of push, to try to create and do something.
And it worked.
And it worked. We were down 12 starting the 4th quarter, and they go and score 24 points. I think it helped somebody like the younger players, like Brindley Bogue, who's a freshman.
Right.
3 games into her varsity career, all of a sudden you saw her playing a lot looser.
Okay.
Getting hands on balls, making some nice passes.
Right.
Then you had some 3-point, and ones that kind of converted out of that.
Sure.
Kaylin Battle kind of elevated, and all of a sudden things just seemed, more at ease, and they were having fun out there.
Yeah.
So I think that was the point, and I brought it up to him several times, during the course of the year. You scored 24 points in about, 6.5 minutes.
Less than 8 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And that spark this year's, that kind of got you guys going. What was that spark that got you to embark on that 11 wins in 12 games? It was after that, of course, but things started going in that direction. Was there 1 or 2 things that really took off from there?
I think after that, we tried to implement some different things, but then that set us up for the key game. The first one, and I think that's when the spark kind of, ignited a little more out of everybody. So you had, the rest of the girls, like the seniors. We had a great senior corps. So you had people doing things that were comfortable to them.
And it worked out.
Maddie Bunning was, good at being physical with, on the defensive end, and spacing on the offensive end. Little things that kind of came through. Kaylin Battle started to hit some shots. Jillian Blue Ball started to be a defensive rebounding.
Grabbing rebounds, right.
Which we were small, so we needed.
Yeah, sure.
Araceli, all of a sudden, she hit 1 or 2 a game, and then, against Century, she explodes for 7.
Right.
And then you just had the stalwarts there in Jules Lesher, who just did everything that didn't show up on a stat sheet that just kind of calmed the team down and got them in the situations we needed. And Maddie and her played off of each other.
You had Maddie leading the way, but you just mentioned it. You had contributions from all over the court, on the bench, and a successful JV season. Some good feelings, I would think, Dan, about the program going forward, where you guys, what you did this year and what you want to do in the next couple of years.
I think we've had some good continuity over the past 4 or 5 years. JV program has been, led by Sarah O'Donnell, Joey Conklin.
Former Westminster players.
Both Westminster players. I think the continuity, bringing the kids in over the summer, not forcing basketball down their throats, but more weightlifting, conditioning. How to embrace that side of the athletics that is going to build your confidence for whatever you're, I don't care if you're lacrosse, soccer, basketball. Those things are going to have kind of a good ripple through effect on no matter what sport you play.
Let's take a look at the finalists for the CMSportsNet Girls Basketball Player of the Year. We have Westminster's Maddie Gassman, Century's Harley Hamlet, Francis Scott Key's Drew Watkins. We're going to take a close look at the finals, and I'll get your thoughts on them just in a minute. First up is Maddie Gassman. The junior led the county with 7.9 rebounds per game and was second in scoring at 16.6. Plus, she added 4 assists and 3.8 steals for the county champs. Century senior Harley Hamlet led the county in scoring, 17.2 points per game, and grabbed 6.5 rebounds, while picking up 2.7 steals per game for the Knights. And then we have FSK senior Drew Watkins, who averages 15.7 points per game and grabs 4.9 rebounds. Watkins led the Eagles to the second place finish in the county standings. Coach Urban, quick thoughts on each player, and start with Maddie Gassman. I know you can talk about her forever, but just first thing comes to mind.
Maddie is just attacks whatever you put in front of her. I mentioned weightlifting earlier.
Yes.
She really took that to heart this summer, in through the fall, and it showed. I think her conditioning, her strength, and we leaned on her. I don't think I took her out, unless she had foul trouble.
Sure.
The entire year, and she never looked tired.
Yeah.
So she bared the burden of being a point guard, being a forward, being a center defender sometimes, being our rebounder. She had to do all those different, pieces, and she just, was consistent.
Yeah.
So every game, no matter what somebody threw at her, she still managed to put up the points. But the big thing for us was rebounds.
Yeah.
She helped us control situations.
And led the county. Harley Hamilton Century, what made her so tough?
I think she's just relentless.
Yeah, good word.
What I saw was just a constant north to south. She probed,
That's a good point.
probed, and then if she saw a gap of daylight and she got a shoulder around you, she hit it. She dribbled so low to the ground that it didn't matter if somebody was trying to, move into that gap.
Right.
She was through there. But I think the biggest thing was she finished.
Drew Watkins from Key, someone else who finishes near the basket.
Well, I think the biggest attributes I see in somebody like that is there's just kind of an innate understanding of space and angles. And that's something you can't really teach.
Yeah, okay.
Some people just know that, okay, in order for this to work, I need to see things happening 2 plays ahead of time.
Right.
And she's got passers on that team that if she goes and gets that angle, they saw it and they could get it to her.
Yes. No doubt. Coach Urban, awesome insight. And once again, congrats on the county championship and on a great season. Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you coming or having me in.
Yeah. Want more local sports coverage? Be sure to like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel.